Hey guys, and welcome to the Lost Cycling Dudes internet journey. Once again, we're going to take a second and focus on competitiveness tonight. As you guys are well aware, we are leading up to the niche rivalry launch. Actually, it's only a couple hours till midnight right now as I'm recording this. So we are just on the verge of going head to head with Wes from Chasing Pace and trying to make more money than him in the same niche. It should be a fun thing to kind of scrabble over some of the same keywords and some of the same ideas, and may the best man win. Tonight, here on New Year's Eve of 2011, coming into 2012, I want to take a minute to show you how to pick a winning keyword. Hopefully, you have already had some time to do some brainstorming. We did that video here earlier this week discussing brainstorming and just how to stir up from the recesses of your mind one of the or several keyword ideas that you could use or topics that you could write about. And I'll be quite frank with you, I don't know anyone. Well, okay, maybe I know a person or two, but they're mostly boring. Most people I find are quite engaging. You have areas of expertise, you have things you know about, and things you enjoy talking about, and all of those things can pretty much be turned into a topic for writing a web or website or a blog about, and especially if it's product oriented, making a lot of money off of. And we're going to dive into a little bit of that here tonight as well. But what I really want to focus on is taking some of these ideas and letting you determine which ones can be most profitable. And tonight, what I want to do is show you how to do this without paying any money. There are a lot of really good keyword tools to help you determine great keywords, to look at the competition, and really kind of show you which ones are the best, and which ones are going to make you the most money, and so forth, and give you a kind of a fighting chance on those. However, if you're like me starting off, maybe you had to beg, borrow, or steal just to find your $3 a month hosting or your $4 a month hosting. You had to steal from the kids' piggy bank to get your $10 domain name, and that's kind of how I started out. And so I didn't have a lot of money for a lot of those tools, and quite frankly, you can do it without those tools. In fact, just this month here in December, I found a keyword that has about a 4,000 potential monthly views, another one that has about 6,000 potential monthly views, and it's really kind of exciting because right now, I'm sorry, not 6,000, I have a 4,000 and a 3,000 is what they are. Um, and right now, the 3001, after about 2.5 weeks of work, is sitting on page 2 of Google. So it's primed to go to page 1 and start really making some money and paying for itself. The other one is sitting on about page 6 of Google, and it's probably still about 6 weeks out on my current schedule from hitting page 1 of Google. So it's going to be just a little more competitive. But I'm just slowly getting those ranked, and it's really fun to find those and to know that they're solid keywords. And that's using the same techniques I'm going to show you tonight without using any fancy tools is how I discovered those two keywords. So I know these ideas work. I have full confidence in what I'm going to show you tonight. I've used this for months. Now that I'm on my way, I have actually splurged to buy some tools so I can find keywords faster. But all you need is one winning keyword, and you're making $100 a month, and that can make a big difference if, in the grocery budget or how you're spending money, money there, however you want to use that. So what we need to do is just find you a few winning keywords, and that's what we're going to work on tonight. First thing I want to look at is what is a good keyword, and that's something you are qualified to write about. And that word qualified is a big word. A lot of people get scared by it. They think PhD, they think college degree, they think years and years in the industry. And if you have that, great. Most of us don't. Quite frankly, you're not writing the next Wikipedia, and I hope you're not, because Wikipedia is full of false information. And if you can have a website that's more factual than Wikipedia, you're off to a good start. First of all, that subject you have, a good keyword, is going to have something you're interested in. Maybe this is not your biggest passion, maybe it's not your biggest hobby, but it's something you're interested in enough about that you could write about it and not go utterly insane. And that's something, hopefully, it came from your brainstorming, so you know it's something that's already in your brain somewhere. You're somewhat interested in that. Secondly, it's something you have experience in. And once again, we're not talking about years of experience here, but maybe you've been up in a small aircraft. Maybe you've driven a car. Maybe you've changed a tire. Maybe you've seen somebody change a tire. Something you have enough experience in that you can somewhat relate to, or you know someone that can somehow relate to that and can empathize with that. And so having some of that experience is a good thing to bring into your blog or website. The more experience, the better. But once again, not all of us can experience everything. Life is just too short, and the internet's a great way to get to expand some of that and show some of that. The next thing we have here is you are adept at researching it. And, if you started trying to research particle accelerators, if you're like me, I get lost in the introduction on a book about particle accelerators. And so you need to have something that you understand enough of the concepts about and that you're adept at researching it. Or, back to point one, they're interested enough in that you want to learn enough about to start researching that. And so that's something to look at there. But hopefully not something that is too far out of your grasp. I mean, if you need to go back and study, calculus in order to write about your subject, you're going to spend, the first 6 months just trying to learn your subject. And not that that's a bad thing, but for the sakes of this competition, I'd encourage you to find something that's a little closer to home. Next thing we want to look at making a good keyword is that it fills a need. If you're not filling a need, you probably don't need to be on the internet. There's millions of pages that don't really fill a need, and we need your page to fill a need, and that's the heart of every good invention. So make sure that your keyword is going to fill a need, and there's a few things we look at on that. First of all, other people haven't already filled the need. If you look at Walmart, and they probably kind of have the corner on the market of cheap pillows, and whatever they don't have marketed. Target and Best Buy and not Best Buy, but Bed Bath and Beyond. Some of those other department stores are going to kind of blanket the market for pillows. And so you need to find an area, a need that maybe other people haven't filled. Maybe we're talking about rubber band powered airplanes. I haven't really looked at the market for that, but perhaps there's a need there that you can fill, and unique designs for rubber band powered airplanes. And I'm kind of being esoteric here. We'll get down to some really nitty gritty and show you some needs that need to be filled. And this will be, you can dovetail it into your own brainstorming then for your own websites. The other thing here is that you're filling need is you're answering questions and providing reviews. The internet is a big place. Google does their best to rank the most relevant items. And if you can, well, this is kind of a double-pronged thing. If you provide a website that's extremely relevant and answers all the questions you can about this niche, you've done yourself a favor. You've done everybody else on the webosphere a favor. And Google can put you there on page one, and you can provide those relevant answers to those people who are looking for that. And that, once again, is filling a need. Sometimes that's providing reviews for subjects that you have a direct experience in. Sometimes that's providing reviews for things other people have experienced in, but you've done the legwork to dig up those reviews and help Google put those on the front page. The other thing is we're looking at low competition. And this kind of goes back to other people haven't already filled the need. Basically, you don't want to put your Kmart right next to the Walmart. That's probably not a good business model. We need to find corners of the web that are not already occupied by the behemoths. Now, the day may come where you want to take on the behemoths. That's great. For the sake of this competition, we're looking for those niches, those corners where it's empty, and you're ready to build your business. And that's pretty much what our discussion is today, is looking at that competition. Real quick before I get into the practical aspect of that, I want to talk real generally about competitiveness. And the first thing is we need traffic. So we need keywords that will have traffic. I've seen these keywords. In fact, I wrote on one this last week that has a potential of about 16 to 30 visits a month. Man, you have to write a lot of those pages to start making money on that. And the nice thing is I went ahead and wrote a page on it because I really don't have to do any work, and I'm already sitting on page one of Google for that term, which is kind of fun to write a page and a week and a half later, 2 weeks later, be sitting on page one of Google with almost no work to be there. The downside is I would have to write a lot of those pages to be able to pay my rent. So you need to have a keyword that has enough traffic that you can find yourself paying your rent without too much work. The other thing is it's the flip side of that coin. We need to be found. So you can find a keyword that has hundreds of thousands of visits a month, but once again, if Walmart and Best Buy and all these other major behemoths, and there's websites here that are strong websites, answer that need already. You're going to be so far buried in the internet that no one will ever find you. And something you'll find as you research internet traffic is most of the traffic of the internet stays on the first page, and if not the first page, the first 3 pages of Google. If you're looking at Google or pretty much any of the search engines, and most of the traffic in the first 3 results of Google. People often don't even scroll down past the first 3 results. And I primarily speak of Google because I've studied that most. I am starting to expand and rank in other engines as well, but primarily we're going to talk from my experience, which is ranking in Google. So we need to be found, we need to avoid strong pages, and I'll get into a definition here very shortly about what a strong page is. What I want to do is get ready for the practical section, and hopefully you already have your web browser up because you're watching this on my website or on YouTube, so feel free to open a new tab as we dive into this. We're going to look at 3 secret weapons. All of these right now are free of charge, and there we're going to show you how to use them. First thing we're going to do is look at the Google AdWords Keywords tool. Sometimes I abbreviate that GAKT. So if you ever see me refer to that, you know what I'm talking about. Secondly, we're going to look at a PageRank tool. And finally, we're going to look at this website. It's called Ahrefs. And for those of you who have some programming experience will recognize that as relating to hyperlinks. And the rest of you, if that was Greek, don't even worry about it. It doesn't matter. All right, let's dive right in here. We have the Google AdWords keyword tools, what I want to start off with. And quite frankly, it's easy to find this tool. You just go to Google and do a search for keyword tool. Typically, it's the first result that comes up. This tool is designed for people who are getting ready to advertise with Google, and it shows them what categories they can advertise in and how much it costs them to advertise on Google. It was a really great tool for us to look at and kind of get an idea of how we can make money providing Google with a place to put those ads. And as you see here, I went ahead and put in self-defense as a word or phrase. It's going to say find keywords. Actually, I should probably not get too far ahead of myself. When you log in, or when you pull up this page, it's going to look a lot like this, but there's going to be in the right-hand corner a little area that says sign in. You're going to want to click on that and sign in using your Google login. If you don't have a Google login, take a second and log in. The reason being is as you do these researches, you're going to get these keyword ideas, and if you don't log in, you're limited on the number of keyword ideas you can get. If you go ahead and log in, you're going to get more keyword ideas, and you really want to get all the keyword ideas you can. So first of all, let's take a moment and get familiar with this tool. We have a search for self-defense, and I'm going to focus briefly on the match types to get started here. We have broad, exact, and phrase, and I'm going to select all 3 of those to get started and click on search, and it's going to pull up self-defense in this. And now let me just explain these. Broad, that is going to be, and you see that demonstrated here, that is going to be the all the searches that have the terms that have the words self and defense in the same searches. So it can be self-defense for seniors. It could be defense or home defense self. Some of these strange search terms people put in, but any search term that has the word both self and the word defense in the same search term is going to be this first one, or the broad. The exact is what we typically focus on. You see it here in brackets and also demonstrated here in brackets. Those are going to be the searches that have the word self-defense and nothing but self-defense in the search. And I like to focus on that for a few things. First of all, it gives you a really good idea of how many people search for just those phrases without all the extra words in it, because you can have so many permutations, and this kind of helps you get to the heart of the matter. If you rank for the word self-defense, you may rank for some of those other permutations, and that's just a cherry on the icing. But let's make sure we get ranking for self-defense first. And that's where the heart of our thing is. And then the other thing is the phrase, and this has the quotation marks around it. You may have used the phrase search even when you're searching on Google. And we see it here as well. The self-defense here is going to be all those that have self-defense in that order in the search. So that might be a search that says, self-defense for kindergartners, self-defense for teenagers, self-defense for however you want to do that, or home self-defense, anywhere where self-defense is in that order in the search. There might be other words around it, but self-defense is there. And once again, let's contrast that with broad, where self and defense end up in the search, but there might be a term between self and defense. The self and defense may not be right next to each other as they would be in a phrase search. And then once again, finally, the exact, and these are the ones with the brackets. The exact is where our focus is, and that's going to be where it's only those 2 terms in the search. All right, so there's that. Now let's take a look at the competition. And competition is not anything I've talked to you about. I know we've been talking about competition, but this is a different competition. It's arose by another name to quote, to emulate some Shakespeare here. This is where if you were an advertiser, you would want to know how many people were competing for that same search term, or competing for ad space. And this shows you how many people are competing. Low is not many people competing. Medium is a medium amount of people competing. And then, of course, there's a high, and that's going to be a lot of advertisers competing for that search word. It may mean that more advertisers drive up the bidding, sometimes create higher prices for that search term. And that's important for people who are advertising to know. That's important for us as well. If we're trying to go for a keyword that has a low competition, we may find that a lot of times there are not ads served on our pages because there's nobody to advertise. We want to stick with the medium or the highs in order to keep the most advertisers on our page and offer ourselves the biggest chance at making money on our keyword. Secondly, global monthly searches. These are the number of searches done in a month based on a 12-month average for people anywhere in the world. Local monthly searches is based on the United States, and these are the numbers I normally focus on. Listen, you might get some United Kingdom people visiting. You might get people from India doing an English search for your word and coming to your page. But unless you're willing to do the finagling of getting hosting in those companies or in those countries, it's going to be hard to rank in those countries. Based on the fact that most of you are going to have hosting here in the United States, we're going to focus mostly on these local monthly searches numbers. Thirdly, we're going to have approximate cost per click. This is approximately what the people would expect to pay if they were trying to buy this ad space. You can expect to make about 60% of this figure is what Google gives you as part of your cut when people click on an ad that's displayed on your website for this category. And sometimes it's a little bit higher, sometimes a little bit lower. And keep in mind, sometimes if you're especially in like a medium or low category, they may not have an ad for self-defense, so they'll serve up some other ad in that space, and it may have a different cost per click on that, typically a little bit lower. I have one niche that's really troublesome. It keeps giving me 1 cent clicks because it doesn't have enough ads in it. It was kind of an early website I started, and I get to pay the price of some of my inexperience there. But that's okay. That's part of this game. It's cheaper than a college education. All right, here's this last thing that I like to include, and this is local search trends. This has a really neat thing. This shows you each month. December, you hover over at January. Here's your February, and this shows you the months that have the most searches for these. So you're going to see that these, the two ones here that have a lot of permutations tend to have the most searches there in January, February, and March. I don't know, maybe people are at home, maybe they feel insecure. I don't really know what's going on in the trend there, but we have higher searches for those. This one here, which is the exact phrase we'd be targeting, has more normal traffic patterns, pretty steady throughout the year. And this is important because if you pick a niche that does not have steady traffic, you may have months where you do not have any traffic whatsoever, and so you do the same amount of work to rank for it, only to get a little bit of traffic. And I think this is a really good to illustrate with a holiday. If we were to do a search, let's say we were going to build a website for Christmas gifts, this is really fascinating because you see here, this is mostly white, and the reason it's white is because these months there's no searches whatsoever for the term Christmas gifts. We see here that in November we have a little bit of searches, October, November, and then December we have most of our searches, and then January, February, and March, no searches for the term Christmas gifts. So these websites that rank for Christmas gifts get to sit there and do nothing the rest of the year. It's one of the bummers of picking something that's only a seasonal niche. Another thing you might look at is lawnmowers. This is a little bit more less seasonal, but still slightly seasonal. Let's take a look at this here for you. And we're waiting for the load. There we go. See here, summer months, mostly busy. You're going to have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months of the year where there's not a lot of traffic on that, and that's something to be important to recognize. And this is something that actually Wes and I ran into. I'll give you a little hint here. Tailgating was a word that we were really excited about, especially with the sports and so forth aspect of it. And you'll see here for the exact term tailgating, there's only about 1, 2, 3, 4 months of the year where you're actually going to have traffic for that, and it really tapers off in November as the weather starts getting cold. The rest of the year, there's really no traffic for that term, and so that was one of the things that made us look for some other keywords. We have some other reasons why we didn't go with that keyword. We'll go into more of that on the video cast tomorrow. He and I will both put some of our insight into that. But something you look at here is the trend and say, hey, you know what? It may not be the best term to go after. So we also want to go ahead, let's just come back around to self-defense. I want to show you a little bit now about your competition. So we have the term self-defense. We'll type it in here, and as you remember from my brainstorming video, perhaps you want to do some research for different karate types. Maybe you want to look at different products such as knives or weapons or mace or pepper spray that you can sell on your website, and you can put in those terms as well here and search for those and see what comes up and apply the same principles. First of all, let's go ahead and just look. If we wanted to rank for self-defense, what is our competition going to look like? And before I get into that, I want to show you a couple of tools that we use to determine whether a website is strong and how strong that website is. The first thing we want to do here, bear with me one brief second. All right, aside a couple things here. All right. So let's go ahead and come here. The first one is this website, chromefans.org/PR. And just go ahead and type that into one of your browsers and pull that up. And this is a plugin that you can install into Chrome, and it's important for what we're going to use here to discover PageRank. And I'll talk about PageRank in just a moment. But it's a handy tool to use to help determine some of your competition. So chromefans.org/PR, you'll want to go to that in a Chrome browser. And Mozilla does have plugins that determine PageRank. Go to addons.mozilla.org and do a search for a PageRank tool. You can pull one up there. I really like this tool, so I'm going to show it to you because I have a lot of experience with it, and so I'll just stick with what I know. And go ahead and click on here, and then you can download that. I'm sure it's on here somewhere. PageRank extension for Chrome right here. And you should be able to download that right now to Chrome. I already have it installed here as this little tool, and we're going to reference that here pretty frequently. The next thing we have here is ahrefs.com. And this is a great little website that helps you look at how many links are coming into a domain. A major domain that has a lot of traffic is going to have a lot of links, a lot of blogs linking to it, maybe a lot of manufactured links, which you'll probably learn how to do some as you promote your own websites. You're actually creating links to them as you promote those, saying, hey, come look at my website. Let's go to Walmart.com. You see they actually have about 551,000, actually 759,000, so 750,000 backlinks or websites that are linking to that, saying, hey, this is a great website, something to pay attention to. You're probably going to have a lot fewer, but it kind of shows you the strength of a really strong website. And this is important to know. The more links there are, the stronger the website is. Back to PageRank. We'll take a second to look at that now. And this is the PageRank tool. You see the little number 4 here. This shows you a PageRank of 4. PageRank runs all the way up to 7, from 0 to 7. 0 is lower. 0 is good. We want pages that have 0. And then it gets exponentially harder. 1 is exponentially harder than 0. The highest PageRank page I've outdone is a 3 so far in my experience. You could probably do a 4 with a lot of effort, but you'd want to make sure it's worth it once you get there. So now that we've covered some of the basics of these tools, let's go ahead and dig into determining just how competitive some of these terms can be. If we click on self-defense here, and I just clicked on the wrong thing. Hang on a second. Watch out for those little pop-ups. Here we go. Click on the actual search itself, not that little window. I'm going to have, and sorry there, just making sure I'm still recording. That way I don't end up having to come back through and completely redo this. It's close to 10 o'clock. Normally I'm in bed at 10, so I'm just kind of double checking myself. We do a search for self-defense on Google by clicking on that link. It pulls up a new tab here in Google Chrome, and here's a link. Now, let's see how tough our competition is. First of all, the first 3, you see that little yellow behind them, are ads. And this is a good thing. This shows you that there is advertising for these on the front page of Google. So we want to go ahead and, that's a good thing. We can advertise here, some more ads down the side. We can put a web page in here and to kind of stand a chance. First thing we have is Wikipedia. Well, Wikipedia is a pretty tough competitor. We do have, looks like this one is going to have a page rank of 5 for this article. A lot of websites linking to it. Kind of be hard to knock it off its block, but I have seen it done before. So, something to think about there. Wikipedia is definitely, not an end-all. Now we have kidshealth.org, and they have a little article here about teens and staying safe. This is a page rank of 6. Also with the .org, so it's going to be something that is going to be tougher to compete with, and so I wouldn't bother really wanting to compete with that. Next, we have a no-nonsense self-defense here. Click on this, and we currently have a page rank of 4. Not too shabby, but we already have a 6 and a 5 on this page, so I'm really not liking this term. I'll be real honest with you. Here's the other thing I like to look at. About this time, I stop looking at page ranks, and I just go through and say, how many of these pages have the term self-defense listed in the title? We see 1, 2. These we'll ignore these because these are from my local area. And then we have self-defense product, self-defense product, self-defense school, self-defense training. The term self-defense is in a lot of these, so that's going to mean we have a lot of titles against it. Not only do we have a lot of titles, but we have a lot in the descriptions. So this is actually starting to look more and more competitive for this niche. Here's a page rank of 3, so if you really wanted to work, you probably could bump them off. I don't know, man. That'd be pretty tough there. And quite frankly, for the effort, and there's enough other good niches out there, I'm not going to waste my time trying to rank for self-defense. I'm just not going to do that. But that's not to say that self-defense is completely out the window. Let's go ahead and look for some other terms. You've heard me use the word long tail before on my website. We're going to look for some other terms, maybe sub-niches of self-defense, and see what we can find that might be beneficial that we could go ahead and rank in and answer some questions that aren't already being answered. I mean, we take a look at self-defense. Wikipedia is already answering questions. Selfdefenseproducts.com is answering questions. Selfdefenseresource.com is already answering questions. We got a lot of websites already answering questions, and they're strong websites. They're websites that have page rank of 5, which means a lot of people are linking into them, and they're well respected in their industry already. People already know about these websites. They're answering the niche. We have a well-covered corner here. So we're going to do a search for something else, and a couple ways you can do this. What I like to do is, especially when I'm first starting out, is sort this by local monthly searches. You just click on that, and it rearranges it. You start with lowest first, and these are actually terms that have so few searches that they actually don't have data for the local monthly searches. And I often do this by 100 or higher. You can actually write them about 10 or higher if you think it's going to be a good keyword. You have the benefit that in a lot of cases you actually are not going to have. And let me go ahead and clear out these broad and phrase and just go to exact. So we're just looking at those. But you have the advantage that there's not a lot of competition. No one's going to visit it. No one's going to build any websites there. And then you can build a website that answers that question and get the 5 or 10 hits a month on that, which is great. If you don't have to do a lot of work in it, go right ahead and do that. See if it ranks. It's probably not something we want to build a website around. So I'd like to order it to begin with by higher ones. We're going to skim down through past the first ones. We're going to look for some keywords that have 3 terms to it, such as self-defense weapons or martial arts weapons, and that still have a little over 1,000 hits a month. Try to see if we can find some good things. I'm going to kind of skim through here and see what I can find. I've had kind of a pre-screen this to try to get some ideas of some things to show you guys. And here we have best martial arts. Now, best martial arts may not be the best one to work on because it has low competition. So not a lot of advertisers. In fact, if you click on the ad here, you'll see there's no advertisers here and there's no advertisers here. So you probably want to sell something else on this website than Google, other than Google AdSense. But if you click on it, you see you have a lot of low competition terms. We have this page here, listverse.com, with the top 10 martial arts for self-defense, has a page rank of 3, and that's not too shabby. We also have what is the best type of martial arts at about.com. About.com is a reputable site, page rank of 4. Still, I'm not too worried about that. You could probably get really close to bumping them off, and that page rank of 3 has already done that. Sagmusa.com, let's see what we have here. Oh my. Alright, so we have some more martial arts going on, and I'm not really sure what all we have here. It looks like some manga. And let's see if we can actually get page rank to load. My website's apparently moving a little slow on the loading here. While that's loading, let's take a quick second and show you how Ahrefs work. We'll copy this, and we will come over here and do a search, and put that in there. It's going to do a little quick search here, and I always have this domain selected so we can see all the links coming to it. And this page actually has one link going to this website. That's pretty good competition here, or that's really good. There's not a lot of competition. In fact, this website has so little competition, or has so little authority, that there's not even a page rank assigned to it. So this is what I would consider a bright green term, and that would be a best martial arts. So you can build a page here. You can rank pretty easily for it. Even though we do have martial arts here, we certainly don't have best martial arts in all these. Like Learn Jiu-Jitsu doesn't have best martial arts in the title, so you could build a page titled best martial arts, and with just a little bit of backlinking love, get this to rank. And we'll discuss backlinking here in a later article. So this is kind of an idea of one that's a green term. Now, once again, we don't have a lot of AdSense ads, so you'd want to look around for some other way to monetize it. Perhaps there's a ClickBank product you can sell, or something from Amazon affiliate or Commission Junction that you could put on there and sell instead, like these guys have done. They're selling items such as nunchucks and so forth on their website. So there's an idea of a bright green keyword, and you just go down and look for them. Just click on one, self-defense techniques, pull it up here, and as you find the right ones, jot them down. I like to keep a sheet that shows me how much traffic they could get and so forth, and then you just pull it up here. Now this one we have looks like some pretty good competition self-defense techniques right there. Selfdefensetechniques.net has a page rank of 0. So you actually probably could get in there. They're at the #1 spot because they have this all in their domain name. That really helps them. but we have a life hacker, which is not too competitive. Listverse, we've already seen, is not too competitive. Wikipedia is all the way down number 4, so obviously not a really threat here. So self-defense techniques might be another one to go after, and this one has plenty of competition. So there you go, guys. I'm just handing you a niche right now that has, where are we at? Self-defense techniques, about 1,300 hits a month there. So feel free to put up a website, rank that, and start making about $10 a month. Also, as you're interested in this, you can click on self-defense techniques. Once again, highlight that, copy that, put that over here into HREFs, paste, explore links, see what it gives you. I like to do it this way though, so I actually get to see all the links coming at it. And they have a whopping 10 links at it. Actually, I think I just found a new niche that I'll need to capitalize on. So anyhow, and I'm kind of joking on that. I have too many irons in the fire as it is right now. But so here's a way to find some great links. And you just go through and look for these and find those. You're going to find a lot that don't apply. I just go one by one by one, typically starting about the 10,000 or fewer. So I'd probably start here. I sort those by local, monthly, get up here to about the 12,000 and start searching for any of them that have 3 words or more in the phrase, just because it makes it easier for competition's sake to weed out the riffraff and get something that you can actually compete in that the big guys aren't already all over. So hopefully that kind of helps explain a lot of the competition there. One last thing I want to show you is the filters here of the Google AdWords keyword tool. This can be really handy as you're trying to sort this out. You can click on this little thing here and it bumps it up and down. I'm going to expand that, and we're already set up for English in the United States. So all I'm going to do here is local monthly searches. I want to have more than 100 local monthly searches. Add another one, and I want to keep it under 15,000 local monthly searches. That way I kind of get some of that stuff on the really top and really bottom there. Gone, and then it redoes the search. I have 157 keywords to sort through. It takes me probably about 10 minutes to go through the keywords. I just once again look for the title. Let's see here. We go ahead and take a look for the title, see if it's in the title. We take a moment and look for page rank and try to have a page rank of 4 or less, and preferably 3 or less. And a lot of those on the website. And then secondly, we look for backlinks. How many backlinks do they have? If you can get something that has less than less than 50 backlinks, that is great. I have a keyword right now. It gets about 10,000 visits a month, and it has about 300 backlinks at my competitor's webpage. And so I went ahead and went after it because it was a big enough keyword, and he only had a page rank of 3, and we beat him out. We just got more backlinks than they did, and won, and it's making a good little bit of money. So for me, it was worth the effort to do that. So that's just something to keep in mind there. And then once again, we want to encourage you to follow the Niche Rivalry. Like I said, we're getting ready to launch this, and I know this has been a little longer podcast, but we're basically just showing you how. I was just showing you how to do this without spending money, and go ahead and dive in here, even though you may not, have the money for some of those fancy tools. I know I haven't, and I still have been doing pretty decent in this, and I want you to see that you can do the same thing. If you're anxious to follow me, my website is LostCyclist.me. West, you can follow him at ChasingPace.com, and just to show you once again here, my website LostCyclist.me. Feel free to click on the Niche Rivalry, and that'll take you to the page that has the latest on my side of the Niche Rivalry. Also, Chasing Pace has his here, and click on his case studies, and the Niche Rivalry will be there for him on his web page as well, that you can follow as well here. And if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the comments section, or feel free to email me, quintonhamp@gmail.com, and I'll be back to you here before too long as we launch the Niche Rivalry. Have a great day.